Hey, Takari, I swear he do, bro. The man always coming out here talking shit. Nigga, I know it was 11:30, and I started at 11:30. What kind of math you doing? What can you not tell the time, nigga? It's shit crazy as hell. Everybody ain't complaining. You said it will be 11:30. What the fuck time is it then, nigga? What's up, the market support? That nigga always do be saying shit. Oh, shit. Turn my other light on. About that. Then this nigga gonna, cause I know it's him, gonna create a profile like he D Mac. First of all, why would his name be D Mac? This nigga right here. Oh, that's what it is. Right. Different time zone, nigga. What's up, Cedric? Could you have seen Tasha Smith playing the Monet role in Power Book 2 Ghost and Mary J. playing? Yeah, I think you asked me that, and I think I answered this already, but I think Tasha Smith would have done a good job as Monet. I mean, you go back and look at all of the roles that she's played. I mean, basically being this, kind of ratchet, hard on, tough type of woman, which Monet was. So there's no reason to make me believe she wouldn't have been able to pull that role off. Now, as far as Mary J playing Jarita, sure. I mean, the role was very minimal. It wasn't like it was a challenging role where she had a lot of, variety of range. I mean, it was just basically a scene where she had a sex scene with Kanan and a few little scenes talking over the phone. Nothing really tough. So, sure. Only thing is, I do know Mary J didn't like sex scenes, so maybe she would have had an issue doing that one. Even though, it was no nudity, so maybe she would have been okay with that. Look, the nigga switching accounts right now, bro. He's switching from Sayru and then he from DMAC to the Sayru account, then saying it ain't him. Jarita character was wasted in OG Power. She never showed up again or went into research on how her own son got smoked. I hope Raising Kanan shows how loyal she was to young Kanan. Hey, that's absolutely true, bro. Like it's a lot of stuff that I gotta say didn't make sense with that situation because why would when her son is killed, they contact Tasha to ID the body? That don't make no sense whatsoever. I always said that. First off, he have a living mom, and his dad was living too, and out at the time. It was not like he was incarcerated. So they would have contacted the mom and dad first, and let's just say they did so happen to reach out to somebody else because maybe at the time Ghost was the guardian. They would have reached out to Ghost, not Tasha. That should just didn't make sense at all. But anyways, people, like always, we got 4 good topics. We'll go ahead and go over each of them real quick. So basically, we have the Ghost top 5 mistakes. I actually did a video on that one earlier today. So if you haven't looked at that video, go ahead and check it out later on your free time. Well, basically, I was highlighting the top 5 biggest mistakes that Ghost made that ultimately led to, you know, the outcome of him. Whether you believe he's dead or alive, either way, it turned out that Tariq wanted him dead, perhaps. So that's what the top 5 mistakes come from. We're gonna discuss that, and then we have the best girl for Tommy. So pretty much, you remember on here we had a debate whether or not who was the best girl for Ghost, Tasha or Angela. So I thought it'd be a good idea to also do the same thing for Tommy, because as you know, Tommy has had now 3 major love interests. Ghost had 3 as well, but Ramona was, I don't know. I feel like the big ones was Tasha and Angela. Ramona, we only seen her for 1 season. So, which is the same with Tommy with Maria, which is kind of why I say more so the debate will be between Holly and Lakeisha. But yeah, we're gonna cover that. And then this one here. This one is actually kind of this one is kind of my one I'm kind of looking forward to, because this one I believe is gonna be very interesting. What if Aunt Raina snitched? And what I mean by this is, if you can remember back in episode 409 of the OG Power, the same episode Raina was actually killed. She found out about the Ray Ray situation at school, because you remember Ray Ray came to her class looking for Tariq. And afterwards, she came and told Tariq later on at home. And Tariq basically was begging her not to snitch. And keep in mind, Tasha said that she always told her everything. And even Tariq has, basically alluded to she was a snitch. So this one time she decided not to. So the question is, what would have been the alternative had Raina went ahead and snitched and just told her mom? So we're going to discuss that. And of course, the final one, we have, would Ghost's plan have worked? And what I mean by would his plan have worked, I'm speaking of the plan that he had in place to, basically get rid of Tariq was in trouble with they was closing in on him with the Ray Ray situation. And his plan was to frame Dre. And of course, Tasha ended up working together with Angela, and they ultimately framed Kanan. And we see what the outcome was to that. So the question is, would Ghost's plan have been better, and would it have worked? That's the last thing that we're going to cover. So let me go ahead and catch up on these comments real quick, and we're going to dive in. All right. Appreciate this super chat, DeMarcus. It said, imagine if Dante Spears eliminated Curtis St. Patrick, and this is why Dante Spears got arrested while Monet was pregnant with Zeke. Let me think this out, because I'm pretty sure Ghost's father was killed before Breeze. Breeze had to have been killed anywhere between 96 to 98. You had a 3-year radius. So that means his dad, Curtis, had to have been killed anywhere between 96 and 98 as well. Because I remember in 96, they were still at Choke. Well, I mean, not Choke. Angela was getting ready to leave for Choke. And we already know that Ghost's father passed away after Angela was already gone. So probably like more so that 97 range is what I'm aiming at. I'm thinking both Ghost's father and Breeze probably died in like 97. But anyways, Um, Dante, let's see, because remember Monet was pregnant. Actually, I would say that's impossible, DeMarcus. I had a second to think about it. No, there's no way because Zeke was born in 90. Hold up, no, you know what? It is possible. I take that back. It's possible because Zeke was born in 98, and that means Dante would have had to have gotten her pregnant around 97. So yeah, that's possible. Because you remember he wasn't around when Monet actually had the child because she moved to North Carolina to have it. Yeah, that's possible. Shit. I never thought about this. Damn. You know what, DeMarc? That actually will make a good ass video. I'm gonna go ahead and take that, write that down, and give you your credit for it. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. Hey, that's a appreciate that. That's actually a good that's a really good question, bro. Well, really a good really good comment to have me thinking on it. That's crazy. I never thought about that, but that does actually line up. What's good, Ezzy? Support gaming. Do you think Kanan will meet Ghost and Tommy first or Breeze? What do you think? UAN. Well, Kanan has already met Breeze on screen. I would like to think he hasn't met Tommy and Ghost yet. Probably. Because they probably would have, showed us the introduction. Even though, like I said, the white boy it looked exactly identical to the photo that was on OG Power. But keep in mind, things could have changed. I don't know. They could have been just pulling our leg like they've been doing with the Breeze situation for the longest. So more than likely, I'll say he probably met Breeze first. Because more than likely, if he didn't, I'll say this as well. If he didn't meet Breeze first, he probably would have introduced, Kane and Ghost and Tommy to Breeze sooner because they was already part of his crew, right? Like why he wait so long? It could be that Breeze was like, look, I don't want to meet none of them little niggas until they worthy of it. It could be something like that, but don't forget that Tommy also laid the pipe on Vic's girl and was sprung on her too. Yeah, I thought about her, but that was way too little of a time. That wasn't even can't even really say that was a love interest if you ask me. So that's why I didn't include her. Will likely already be working for Breeze because meeting Ghost and Tommy, he recruits them as his corner boys and introduced them to Breeze when they prove loyalty. Yeah, I agree. If Kanan met Ghost and Tommy first, or if Breeze did first. No, it had to be Kanan for sure. We know this for sure. Kanan met Ghost and Tommy before Breeze did because they showed us on the promo. Tommy said Kanan said he's going to introduce us to Breeze today. So and that was in '96. So we know Kanan had to have met him first. Okay, so but like I said, we don't have an exact because I just did the I just did it in my head as well. Like we don't know the exact timeline of when he was killed. Like I said, it could have been anywhere between 96 and 98 because it's possible that Ghost's dad was killed the same year as Breeze. We don't know. And it's possible Breeze was killed in 98, maybe. Because we know what we do know is that Ghost said he was around Tariq's age when he killed Breeze, which would land him anywhere between 16 to 17 years old. Ghost was born anywhere between 1980 to 81. So if you do the math, it could be 97. So if he took him out in 97, um, Ghost's dad could have been killed that same year. And he could have gotten Monet pregnant. Well, let's see. You said Zeke was born October of 98? Like I said, I don't know. It's possible. Okay, because that means she must have conceded, gotten pregnant around January of 98 if he was born in October. I don't really remember seeing his birthday like that, but okay. Like I said, if he did take him, if that is possible, because he wasn't around for it when she actually had the baby, right? Because he ended up getting arrested. Um, it's crazy. This actually got me wrecking my brain. We didn't even actually started the show about it. Probably do a mini segment of this as well. But shit. What's up, Marcus? People love piggybacking off what I say, of course. Remember when Kanan said pink sneakers don't even take her shoes off to fuck back in book one? How the fuck would he know that? Intimate detail of an illustrious hitter he had to hit pink sneakers. Yeah, unless he just heard about it or just was making some shit up. But yeah. Ghost's biggest mistake was underestimating Tasha Green, the how smart chicken head, and Tariq, his demonic spawn. If we continue to believe what Courtney Kemp says, Kanan and Bree smoked Ghost's dad, which I just can't buy into that. Yeah, she did say something alluding to it look like that was the case. We'll say that. Peace niggas deserve an origin story in Raising Kanan season 5 or Power Origins. Do you think Peace niggas did hits with Jukebox back in the day? Perhaps, maybe that's how Kanan actually got to know her. Maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the top 5 mistakes. If you've seen my video already, then you know what my top 5 mistakes that Ghost has made. I would love to hear what do you guys feel like his biggest mistakes were. I mean, more than likely, yes, she was a side piece. I would say if they had something actually going on. His biggest mistake was letting Kanan manipulate him into eliminating Roller. I don't know if I can say that's his biggest mistake because I don't even think it makes the top five because it didn't really affect his overall outcome. The only thing you can say how it kind of sort of affected him is two things. It affected his strength, overall strength, in his organization because the RSKs obviously went down after that. And then, there was a trustworthy soldier that he had on his team. And then the other thing is he started drinking a tad bit again once, Roller was gone. So that's the only thing I can think of there. But other than that, it didn't really majorly affect, the storyline of Ghost that led to, what happened. Okay, so what if it wasn't Kanan that clipped Ghost's dad, but a couple of people in his crew did, and he manipulated the whole situation without Breeze? Definitely possible. The thing is that mine is. But here's the question: if that is what he did, what made y'all? What would be the reasoning y'all think to Kanan was manipulating them? Is it to gain more control over Ghost or what? Ghost top five mistakes: dipping his dick in that fed bitch, not teaching Tariq the game and guiding him, hiding his past from his kids, not being all the way honest with Kanan, killing Roller. I'll say you got some kind of valid points here, but let me see how that overall affected his ending. So you said dipping his dick in that fed bitch, that definitely is up there. That's in my list. Not teaching Tariq the game, nah, I don't think so because I think he actually could have gotten away with not teaching Tariq the game had he not dipped his dick into that fed bitch. So I think that's irrelevant if he never got back with Angela. Hiding his past from his kids, kind of under the same thing. Because I actually think he could have possibly have pulled it off without them even knowing. And he could have possibly gotten out of the game had he just left Angela alone. So I think that one was very pivotal. Not being all the way honest with Kanan. I'm curious of when you say he wasn't being all the way honest with Kanan, what was the honesty you're speaking of? Because I'm pretty sure if you're speaking of the reason why he ended up sending him to jail, I'm pretty sure the only reason why he sent Kanan to jail is because he already brought what he was trying to do to his attention several times, and Kanan wasn't listening. Keep in mind, we actually know this because in season 2, episode 8, he told Sean that. He said Ghost and Tommy kept coming around talking to me about some shit I wasn't down with. So they got rid of me by sending me to prison. So actually, Ghost was honest with him about what he wanted to do. Kanan just wasn't for it. And I think even when Kanan first came back, if you pay attention in episode 202, when he first came to Ghost's place and he seen how nice the place was, he was like, damn, y'all living like George and Weezy for real. Damn, y'all did better with me, inside than y'all would have done with me on the street. Remember, he said that. So I think right there when he said that, he was kind of realizing Ghost was right the entire time. But, I just wouldn't listen. However, that niggas did still send me to jail. So I'm going to do what I got to do. 5, not disciplining Tariq. That's valid. That can actually be in there. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, he should have definitely disciplined Tariq better than what he was doing. 4, not cutting ties with Tommy. Damn, I didn't put that in mind, but you know what? That's valid. It's valid. 3, killing Roller. No, I don't think Roller should make it. 2, cheating with Angela. Definitely should be in there. 1, not killing Kanan. Absolutely should have been in there. Hey, this has a really good list of support. I don't know why I disagree with is the Roller one, but yeah, most definitely. This is a good list. Some of them points I feel like maybe I'll throw one of mine's out to put in the one with especially not cutting ties with Tommy. That should have been in there, and I didn't put that in mine. Ghost Daddy must have been late night top flight security of Queens. I don't know. Kind of manipulating Ghost to smoke roller caused Ghost to start drinking again. Yeah, I said that. Then that means Ghost never found out Kanan did it because he constantly forgave him and still tried to work with him after setting him up. He had to gain more control over Ghost. Remember, his father was trying to pull him away from the streets, and him saving the couple dudes kill him. Him having a couple dudes kill him and act like he wasn't involved, but tell him he know who. Killed his father to gain his trust. Keep in mind, Ghost and Sean told Sean in 2009 that when his pop died, Kanan was there for him. Absolutely. Ghost wanted to expand and go legit. Kanan wasn't with it or didn't agree. He could have helped him see his vision. Kanan couldn't kill someone who's loyal to him. He refused to believe Famous was a snitch. All of that is true. Only thing I don't think it's necessarily that. Well, maybe to a degree he was trying to get Kanan to go legit, but I think he probably was pitching to him, look, we can have legitimate businesses and then, still work the drug game, but let's expand beyond Queens. And I think Kanan was against that possibly. But yeah, pretty much I think that's probably what it was. Ghost letting Tariq, Raina, and Yaz spending the night with Angela was a huge mistake. How was that one a huge mistake outside of Tariq getting the gun? But that didn't really go nowhere because Angela was able to get it sponged off his record. Nothing really happened from that outcome, so I don't see that being one of his greatest mistakes. No. If Ghost would have been more loyal and more honest, Kanan would have respected and honored his wishes. Kanan's dad was a cop, and he was very loyal to him and was hurt when he died because of he was honest. As long as you honest and loyal to Kanan, he got no reason to kill you and every reason to kill for you. I don't think we ready for the young drunk tweaking teenage girls. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. They got to get a good actor to play him. But yeah, I like I said, our with the top statement that you put up there, I think Ghost did try. In fact, I'm positive Ghost did try to be honest with him. Kanan didn't want to come to reasoning. Another big mistake Ghost was made was not killing Cooper Sacks when he had that bag over his head. I mean, I don't think that one really mattered though, because Sacks didn't really do nothing after that. Because that happened in episode 8. I mean, nothing really happened after that. He didn't really do nothing that affected his life any. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that mattered. Correct me if I'm wrong. If it's something that I'm forgetting right now, but I don't see that changing any outcomes. Ghost not eliminating Sacks was a huge mistake. How? I would love to see y'all tell me how, because I'm pretty sure. Let's say had that other. Let's just say Ghost is actually dead. If had that incident never happened, he was planning on using Sax for, something else. Sax didn't do anything that affected Ghost at all after that situation. So I don't get how it would have mattered. And the things he did after Ghost, really didn't matter either. Another one of Ghost's mistakes was not paying enough attention to Dean, aka Milan, freaky frog, cannonball eating ass. Now that was in my list. Hey, y'all can agree together to be wrong together on this one because, like I said, that didn't matter. I would love somebody to prove to me how that matters. I don't see that right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and say what my list was for those of y'all that haven't seen my video yet, but y'all need to watch that shit. The ones that I had on my list, I had at number 5 was, hold on, let me look at it. I gotta remember. I can't even remember it off the top of my head right now. So I had at number 5 Tommy kill Ghost having Tommy kill Tourette's, right? The reason why, in my opinion, that mattered so much is because had he not have Tommy kill Tourette's, Tommy never would have took a shot at him. And if Tommy never took a shot at Ghost, that war between them never would have escalated. And also, of course, Angela would have still been alive. And maybe they would have been able to come up with a plan to still to protect Tariq. And all of that stuff could have been handled. But since he did do that, we got the outcome that we ended up getting. Like I said in the video, in my opinion, he should have just gave the photos to Vincent and convinced Vincent to take out Tourette's. That way, Tommy would have just been mad at Vincent. Because keep in mind, when Tommy approached Vincent about it, and Vincent told him that Ghost the one gave him the photos. Tommy said Ghost gave you them photos so you would take out Tourette's. And then Vincent was like, no, he wants you to do it. So that tells me that Tommy wouldn't have been that upset had he told Vincent to do it. But it was the fact that he had to make him kill his own father that pissed him off so bad. So I think that was a very huge mistake on Ghost's part. Instead of just telling, Vincent, obviously, he's a rat. He's a threat to me. He's a threat to you. Tommy will be pissed off if it was me, and in order to maintain my friendship with him, I'm going to, I would rather not do it myself. And more than likely, Vincent would have just made the move and took Tourette's out. But like he said, when he was telling Tommy to do it, he was saying, either way, you're both dead. So that means he was going to take him out anyways. So the move should have been take him out, get Vincent to take him out. But he didn't. Ghost should have never smashed Linda. Yeah, but that one ain't no major mistake. That's just a minor one that really didn't matter. So, anyways, number 4 on my list, I had Rob and Milan in there. That was a mistake. Because keep in mind, Ghost's first initial plan was to kill the Serbs, right? To take out Vladimir. But Tommy convinced him to just, basically rob them for their shipment and force Vlad to work for them. Milan was pissed off about losing his shipment more so than he was about, losing, the death of Vlad. So that's what made him start, extorting Ghost and Tommy. And they both were distracted so much to the point that Tariq was starting to hang out with Kanan. And he wasn't even paying attention because he was so busy trying to get Milan off their back. And number three, I got leaving his fingerprints on Greg Knox's um, apartment. You remember when he took the glove off and he left his fingerprints outside the fire escape? So that was huge when it comes to his mistake because that's what led to him being arrested. And of course, him being arrested, a lot of shit went down. Tariq was even farther under Kanan's influence. Jukebox ended up taking him hostage. And then Tariq became even far gone. Tariq ended up meeting Ray Ray. And since he knew Ray Ray ended up killing Raina. Tariq ended up making the mistake of killing Ray Ray himself, but not knowing how to do it right. So now the feds was all over them about that. You know what I'm saying? It just basically opened up a brand new can of worms that could have been prevented had Ghost not went to jail. So that was major as well. Then number two was leaving Tasha for Angela. You never should have done that because you already had a family there with them. Most of your life is tied in with Tasha. As you can see, even while he was with Angela, he still had to keep going back to Tasha because his life basically was with her. No matter how much he wanted to go legit. What he should have done was convince Tasha to go legit, stay with his family, stay with his kids. More than likely, Tariq never would have went down the bad path. And even if, let's say, Kanan still came into the picture and some kind of way was able to get a hold to Tariq, all you got to do is take out Kanan, and more than likely that issue could have been resolved. And I think the reason why Tariq went down so bad was because him leaving the family the way he did. At least that's how Tariq saw it. So that was a very, very crucial mistake. And the biggest one of them all was number one, not killing Kanan way back in the day like Tasha told him to do. If we would just took out Kanan way back then, Kanan wouldn't have been around to cause all the trouble that he caused on down the line. Raina would have been alive. Angela probably would have still been alive. All of that shit would have been prevented. Sean would have still been alive. So yeah, that's my list. See what y'all said. Said Ghost never should have eliminated Terry Silver. Perhaps not. I could say that was absolutely a mistake. Not his biggest of mistakes, but definitely was a mistake. Because Tasha ended up trying to use that, as a way to get him arrested and shit. But still, if he never would have left Tasha, that wouldn't have even been a thing. You forgot that Sachs got Tariq and Tasha locked up, and also how Sachs became a dirty attorney and made his family's life a living hell. Tasha would have never turned on Tommy, and Tariq could have been good. No, see, that this is the thing. I remember that Sachs did all of that, but Sachs only did that because he was forced to do that. And I'm talking about pretty much the things that took place in the original Power. And even though, it's still nothing tragic ended up happening because of Cooper Sachs. Because Tasha didn't go to jail because of Sachs. She went to jail because now if I did top 5 Tasha's greatest mistakes, which probably would be a good idea to do, maybe I'll do that tomorrow. On her list would be trying to frame Q for the death of Ghost. Because that's the only reason why she ended up getting arrested. It had nothing to do with Cooper Sachs. And keep in mind, Tariq had Cooper Sachs under control. Because he had already neutralized him by telling him, look, I seen you at Truth with a gun, so you better say it was Dre. And he basically convinced Sax to say, yeah, it was Dre. And he was telling Blanca, you fucked. So Sax really was a non-factor. He only did one at Tasha because basically Stephen Ott was forcing him to. And if you ask me, let's say they did take out Cooper Sax, it wouldn't have mattered. All that would have happened is whoever else they would have anointed the head of criminal like Sachs had, they would have been the one prosecuting that. It would have been the same shit. What if Vincent still would have blamed Ghost even if he actually did take out Teresi? I mean, that's just us giving a hypothetical of, him blaming him, but I don't see a reason why he would blame him because Ghost would have just been able to prove that he didn't kill him. Now, he could have said, if he said Ghost is the reason why I took him out, that wouldn't have mattered because, like I just said, 10 minutes ago, Tommy seemed like he wasn't too pissed off if Ghost told Vincent to do it because he said that in the episode. He said he gave you them photos so that you would take out Teresa. And then he said, no, he wanted you to do it. That's what Tommy was pissed off about. The fact that he had to make him do it. In fact, the next season, in season 6, when he was talking, I believe he was talking to Tasha, he was saying, bad enough for, he had to do that, but he had to make me do it. He said something like that. So what he was pissed off about is the fact that he made him kill his own father. Had nothing to do with, I think he actually probably would have agreed that Teresi had to go. But the fact that he had to make him do it was what he was pissed off about. Remember when Raquel set Kanan up by putting a gun in his bag? I just imagine Ghost pulling that shit on Tariq. Goes to Braden. I would slap you. I would slap your weight ass back to the suburbs if you say shit. Braden definitely gonna tell him though. Like that's for sure. Braden is gonna tell him. That as funny as that shit would be, he's gonna tell him. Tommy also said Ghost could have come to him with the pictures about Teresi. I agree with that too, Hezzy. He could have. See, this is the thing. I kind of understand why Ghost didn't want to do it because think about this. If he would have went to Tommy with the pictures, and let's just say Tommy was still on the fence, was like, I don't believe it, he would have gave Teresi more time to go in to the feds and actually testify. If he actually came in to testify, Ghost would have been fucked. So he didn't have time to risk a chance of Tommy Steele being like, no, where did you get these from? I need more time, all that shit. Time was of the essence. So I think that's the reason why he was like, nah, I gotta make a move that get Teresi up out of here as quickly as possible. Now it is possible maybe he could have came to the one with the photos and then Tommy would have listened to reasoning and would have been like, you know what? Maybe, okay, he is a snitch, he gotta go. Maybe that could have been what he ended up coming up with. But you know how Tommy is. He's a wild card, bro. Like, dude, don't listen. When he in his emotion, to be honest, Tommy act a lot like a female. Just gonna keep it 100. When they got their mind set on something, it takes you a while to get through to them with reasoning. Logic goes right over his head. DeMarcus, I agree, but I understand why. He definitely felt some way watching Terry dig down Tasha. That was a petty ass kid. I agree. It definitely had a lot to do with that as well. He was like, this bitch still fucking this man. You say he should have never trusted Dre? Yep. I can put that up there as one of the biggest mistakes, trusting Dre. Because Dre did a lot of damage for sure. But I'm gonna say this: if he would have just took out Kanan, and Kanan never would have resurfaced, I think Dre possibly never would have been a threat to Ghost. Maybe to Tommy perhaps, but never to Ghost, because Ghost could have. Remember, Ghost was not working the drug business no more. So if Kanan wasn't in the way to force Dre to start back working for him, he wouldn't have had a reason to really bother Ghost because he's not a threat to him. Imagine if Ghost would have eliminated Kanan instead of Breeze. That would have been interesting. I think we'll know more of the answer to that once we kind of get to see more of what Breeze's character is like. But yeah, that absolutely would have been interesting. Who more smart, James St. Patrick father or Tariq James St. Patrick son? Well, definitely Ghost. That's not even close, if you ask me. I think Breeze, I don't know, judging by what they talk about with Breeze, like I said, we got to get to know his character. But if Breeze would have went to jail, I think soon as he would have got out, he just would have tried to kill Ghost. That's what I think they would have did. I don't know. Tommy could have refused to kill Teresi at any time. Nobody really forced him to off his pops. That's also true. But that was too risky, knowing that he's a snitch. You got to think about it. Sachs had the video of Tariq confessing to kill Ghost at the grave. Keep in mind, like I said, he only did that because he was forced to. If Tasha never, that's what I'm saying, that wouldn't have mattered. If Tasha would have just left shit alone, like Tariq told him, he said, "Look, I got a plan, I got us," which was blaming Dre, it would have worked. But she tried to blame Q. And they made them, once they figured out that it wasn't Q, they dug a little deeper and figured out it was her. Tariq was forced to move weight to raise lawyer money for Tasha. Tasha took the weight for the ghost's death, so Tariq didn't have to. I understood, but that's Tasha's mistake for trying to frame Q. She shouldn't have did that shit. And like I said, Cooper Sachs wouldn't have mattered. Whoever the U.S. attorney would have been, still would have done the same thing. If Cooper Sachs would have got killed, the next U.S. attorney would have done the exact same thing he's doing. So I think that wouldn't have changed nothing. Now, if it was something that's specifically that only Sachs could have done, that'd have been a little different, but that's not the case. You know how law enforcement work. If one of them get taken out, the next one's gonna move up and they're gonna be doing the same shit. Imagine if Tasha would have smoked James St. Patrick and Tariq would have sprayed up Monet, how would the situation have been? Well, if Tasha would have took him out, more than likely, I think it would have been more. She probably still would have went to jail. Probably. And this time she probably wouldn't have gotten out because she would have been the actual killer. As far as Tariq spraying up Monet, he probably would have died. Because think about it. They had a plan already in place for when Tariq got close enough to take out Monet. Kane was supposed to have been there to take him out. So more than likely, Kane would have ended Tariq right there. Tommy easily could have just convinced Teresi to leave town. That could have been an option for sure. I didn't like that they got rid of Proctor, a mistake. Yeah, but that wasn't Ghost. We talking about Ghost mistakes. I wonder if Ghost knew Lorenzo Salazar. Ghost saw Lorenzo Salazar in prison. Hmm. Then, because of the illegal activities Sachs did, the DA forced Tasha to blame Ghost's death on Tommy, forcing her to witness protection. If Ghost killed Sachs, his loved ones could have had a normal life. No, they wouldn't have. That's why I'm still on the fence with, because the next U.S. attorney would have done the exact same thing. You're making it seem as if Sachs is the only one that could have done that. Any of them would have done that. If Angela was still alive and she was doing that shit, she would have done that. Let's say that Angela wasn't, on Ghost's side and she was the U.S. attorney and she was prosecuting that case. She would have done the exact same thing Tommy was done. Or let's just say John Mock was still there and John Mock became the U.S. attorney. He would have done that. Y'all got to remember he had the look that he knew he had to get rid of Silver when Proctor first told him that Silver was back around. Silver tied Ghost, Proctor, and Angela to the Sandoval murder. That is true. Silver was dangerous to keep alive. Not only just because, he was smashing on Tasha, but he was just dangerous in general to keep around. Think about that, because like you just said, that Sandoval thing, he definitely tied them together. If he would have just said, yeah, Proctor was the one told me about that situation and went through with it, they possibly would have all went down. Yep. So you're right about that. It would be fire if they included younger versions of Book 2 characters in Raising Kanan and Origins. Huh? Book 2. So I'm guessing you're saying Monet, and you talk about like Monet, Mecca, Lorenzo, the other GTG dude, the father. Who else? But yeah, people like that. I can see them possibly putting them in there. But like I told you, I still think it's a possibility they might do something with the Tejadas. And if they do, they'll be able to do crossovers. A lot of things I say go over people's head, but they don't remember side characters' names or who they are. Shit, I forget side characters' names sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you. They don't really matter that much. They let Cooper Sachs live, who was big trouble to the St. Patrick family. Monet probably got some work from Breeze and Kanan back then. Could have, possibly. Sachs was sleeping with the judge, feeding her privileged information. Nobody else in law enforcement was as crooked as Sachs and could have made the stuff happen that he did. Now, if you want to say, okay, now your argument is starting to stick a little bit. It's starting to stick a little bit because he did do that shit, feeding Jennifer Sullivan information about stuff that can possibly hurt Tariq. Now, you got me there. Do I think it still makes him get into this top 5? No, but you definitely just made a dent in that argument for sure. I'll give you that. Dinah would have used her car to pin Tariq's car down and trapped him by ramming into his driver door. He wouldn't have had time to react to Kane coming out the house and killing him. Shit would have been sad. Yeah, that's what I said. It would have led to Kane killing that nigga. Ghost let Sachs live. He was constant thorn in the St. Patrick family. Gotcha. Tariq would have went out sad as hell. If Drew and the Anna plan worked, it would have been pinned down and executed in his car. Yep. Why didn't Tariq eliminate Kane when Kane was busting at Tasha. Tariq not gangster now. Oh shit. Well, he would have had it much more tougher because he would have had to deal with. Well, yeah, that's true. He could have just got. He could have just got Kane right there, maybe. And I'm pretty sure Diana didn't have no scrap on her. So, and even if she did, I mean, it's Diana. You could have just served her too. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. I did not think about how, Kane did shoot at her and Tariq didn't do that. Damn. He is not gangster because he did not eliminate Kate, Tommy's mother. She got him to sit down at the table. Nah, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna agree with that. I think he only did that because Kate was like a grandma to him. So nah. She was a relative. That's how he looked at it. He had enough respect for her to not just, do nothing to her. If he retaliated on Kane, it would have exposed Tasha and had to deal with the Tejada family immediately and permanently. Well, no, because if you take this is the thing. If he killed Monet, think about it. The only reason why Kane is coming after him is because Monet. Think about it. Monet got shot. If he eliminates Kane and eliminates, go ahead and finish the job with Monet, because keep in mind, Monet is wounded. Diana is nobody. He could have just took Diana out easily right there. And then the only person he would have had to deal with was Drew. So now I ain't gonna agree with that. But I do agree with what DeMarcus said. He could have he didn't do nothing. I mean, hold on, who was that who said that was DeMarcus, right? To say he didn't do nothing when Tasha was being shot at by a gang. Absolutely. DeMarcus, how Kate like a relative to Tariq when he never had an on screen interaction. She didn't even remember Raina name. It don't matter. That's because she's a cokehead. But he still knew her, obviously. You can tell how their interaction was when she shot down, when she asked him to sit down. It's just like somebody you've known all your life, basically. And even though you're mad at Tommy, it's still having respect for his elders. That's what that's called. So I don't blame that on. I really wanted Kane to eliminate that. How stupid do you think Tariq was for going back to the morgue and getting Kane? That was dumb. That was very dumb. I don't know why he even did that. But Kane took his girl, fucked his girl, shot at his mom's, and damn near stole Tariq's. Hey, Kane was doing damage out there. Yeah, Kane, my favorite book two character too. Tariq seen the shooter was Tasha after Kane stopped shooting at the car. She was long gone. Nah. Yeah, I skipped that shit, nigga. You know I'm not gonna do no damn 3 more hours. You out of your fucking mind. I wasn't even about to entertain that dumb shit. But anyways, um, I'm about to go ahead and head to the second topic, people. Because we've been on. It's been an hour now. That one went on quite a while. Now, the best girl for Tommy Egan. That is the next topic. Yeah, Kane did also get him locked up for sure. Tariq was book smart and street smart. I can give him that. Sachs was legal counsel for the St. Patrick and Tejada family, while simultaneously working as a federal informant, helping Jenny Sullivan build a RICO against his whole client. You ain't never lied, bro. Sack was out there doing some damage, boy. Slowly but surely, you trying to work Sacks up in this motherfucker. But yeah, for sure. That was some fucked up shit that mattered though. And but you know what? I blame Davis McLean for that. Because Davis should have known better to actually have him working for them. You know how that nigga is. Tariq, I should kill your ass for shooting at my monster. Nigga, I ain't never shot you. Yo, as flashbacks to Monet being shot. That was that was the bitch ass mama. Tariq, cause God, call her bitch again. Hey, I don't know if Tariq close enough. I think Kane would have just beat his ass and took the gun. Sax lasted longer than Dre and got a shittier death than him. Sax was the goat of law enforcement for sure. Killing Miguel Alvarez before getting answers. How is that number one? That's crazy. Two, underestimating Kanan's influence on Tariq. Three, underestimating Tariq and Tasha's bond. Four, failing to reconcile with Tariq. Five, failing to. I mean, okay. I'm still waiting on Tommy to have a good girl like Tasha. The best one I think he did have was the one at the bar that was already taken. She seemed like a ride or die. I don't even know how you making that case. Damn, Kane beating his ass and taking the gun like Ghost did. Yeah, if he close enough, that's exactly what's gonna happen. I believe. Best girl for Tommy is his mom. his mother. She always knows best for him. Well, obviously we talked about girls that he can be intimate with. So I don't know how you can even make a case for Gloria. That's my opinion. Because they just had they just smashed the one maybe two times and that's pretty much it. You know, they cared about each other, but she didn't even deeply know who he was. So nah. There's no way you can even make a case. The only ones you can make a case for is Holly, Lakeisha, and Maria. So those are your choices, not no damn Gloria. So you're going with Lakeisha, Demarcus. Why? Book two writers sucked. How in the world did they let the apex predator get beat up by Salim himself? He didn't get beat up. I mean, Salim didn't even get a punch in on him. But the thing is that he he grabbed the gun and was wrestling with him for it. But nah, he didn't get beat up. Claudia would have been okay if she didn't start tweaking. She's a feminine kingpin, does coke, bisexual, and knows the game, eager to grow and be. Yeah, but they never had a relationship, so I don't know how you can even be talking about Claudia. Hezekiah says, Holly, why are you going with Holly? How can Lily? I'm talking about people that he actually was intimate with. Liliana and him never had a relationship. Although if she was like that, you might have a case because she was a dope ass girl. Like she was legit a rider for real. And you know, she was in the game, she understood it. Yeah. But like she said, she don't fuck white boys. So if we're talking about the best with Tommy, I'll say Lakeisha. She really tried to build something with him and made him think about the future outside of just blood in the streets. But if we're talking about most iconic, then it's probably Holly because she brought out the most raw, emotional, and unhinged version of Tommy. Y'all finna hate me for this shit. You ain't it, but Shantae Showstopper is the best girl. Why are y'all constantly going with people that he never had that type of thing with? We're talking about the ones that he actually had something with. He's everything Jannard isn't. If Tommy was black, he would have fucked the same week as Gloria. You think Tommy would have smashed if she didn't die? Nah, I don't know. You're talking about Liliana, I'm guessing, but I don't know about that. If Holly would have just left Ghost alone, you see the man didn't want to get his girl in trouble. Tommy loved and had an emotional bond with Lakeisha. Kate actually liked Lakeisha Grant for Tommy. No, she didn't. I don't know what the heck you talking about. Holly would have been doing drugs. Kate, Kate, that's what the three of them would have been doing all holidays. If Holly minded her goddamn business, she would have been Tommy's ride or die, but she died. So is your vote Holly Kalinga? So y'all just be, yeah, man. I wanted to say Maria, but Holly is more of a criminal than she is. Holly was loyal to Tommy, and I feel like that's who he loved with the most authentic. I agree with that. Gloria Force, she was more grounded. Why is Gloria getting votes? This is crazy. Gloria and Tommy barely had a relationship. She challenged Tommy, but didn't want to be dragged into the criminal life. Her death shook him and fueled a lot of his rage and force. The fact that Gloria not wanting to get involved with the criminal life is proof that she wasn't good for him. She almost had his child. She potentially could have been his Tasha. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just shut this down. This shit went on long ago. The answer is who I got in the goddamn picture up there, y'all. It's definitely Holly. Like this is crazy. And I'm gonna go down the line and tell you the reason why it's not the other ones. Gloria, Gloria speaks for herself. That y'all just said she didn't want to be a criminal. She really didn't know much about this side, and the fact that we didn't really get enough information with them to long enough to really be able to make a case for Gloria. So I'm not even about to entertain that. Lakeisha, nah, Maria. Let's go to Maria first. Actually, I think third place is Lakeisha because I see a lot of people voted for Lakeisha. I think Maria is better for him than Keisha is. Keisha wasn't good for him because let's be real. Lakeisha, even though she was kind of a ride or die, she was scary. Think about this. Every time she had to give a statement, she was shaky on that shit. Whenever stuff go down, like a shootout happened, a death happened, she was shaky on that. She was always close to thinking about snitching, but she didn't. She she didn't know nothing about the drug gang. She had to be taught. Then on top of that, she had a child. Let's be real. 9 times out of 10, just like Kate Egan told him, a single mother is going to choose her child over you. So the fact, if you seen how quickly she was to sign those papers once cash was on the line, even though she was too foolish to know that child service can't just take your child like that. They were bluffing her. But at the thought of her child being taken away from her, she was willing to potentially sell Tommy out, even though she ended up, was gonna run. I do think she wasn't gonna snitch on him. She was gonna just run. But look at it. Now you got a girl that's on the run that you got to be concerned about because of that issue. So simply because Lakeisha was scary, didn't really have no skin in the game like that. Like she said, she wanted to move in the suburbs and shit like that. And she had a child. Lakeisha wasn't good for him. Regardless of how he felt for it, there was more so emotions. Kate Egan was right. She was not a good pick. Now, moving on to Maria. Maria was pretty damn good, I must say, because although she didn't really deal with the street life, think about this. Her family is involved with that. So she does know it. She just don't really do it. So I think it wouldn't be nothing for her to, what I'm saying, to be able to learn it if she needed to, because her family does it. And she's a nurse. So, if he was to get wounded and stuff like that, or his people got wounded, that's somebody that he can go to, get treatment without going to the police. So that's another major benefit. And then on top of that, when the law enforcement came to her and stuff like that, what did she do? She didn't panic and get over emotional. She went to Tommy and asked him. She confronted him about it, which is the better move. So I think Maria actually is pretty damn good for him. I must say. The only thing that sucks is that, you know, she's too close to home with his business. That's the only thing that I could say is a major slight when it comes to Maria. The fact that who Tommy was doing business with is her family, and she had to end up choosing her family or him, even though it do seem like she chose, Tommy. The fact that you put her in a position where she has to choose that is kind of, you know, that's kind of a situation he kind of shouldn't have wanted to put himself into. Like Tommy made a lot of his decisions on emotions instead of going with what's best for him. And lastly, we get to Holly. Holly pretty much had all the attributes that was needed to pretty much be with Tommy. She didn't have any kids. She was the only one who got pregnant with him for him. She pretty much was his ride or die. Anything he needed her to do, she was willing to do it. They already interrogated her, and she held it down and didn't snitch on. So she's proven to be a rider when it comes to that. The only fault she had was that she was trying to turn Tommy against Ghost, but let's be real, Lakeisha did that too. So the only one who didn't do that is Maria, and that's because Ghost wasn't around, so we don't know what she would have done if Ghost had been around for Maria. So I think Kate Egan said it. Holly would have been a better pick because she didn't have children. I 100% agree with that. Also, I agree. If you remember, Angela said it too. She said if Holly was still around, you would have had an airtight alibi because we questioned that girl for 24 hours and she didn't say a word. So yeah, the only issue was she underestimated how much of a brotherhood Tommy and Ghost had with each other. But if she could have just let that alone and been like, listen to him, and they could Ghost and Tommy could have just sorted that thing out before Holly made that critical mistake, she was absolutely the best girl. You ask me, it's really not even close. Well, I ain't gonna say it's not close. I think Maria is close, but the other ones they're not close. You asked Chat GBT, the fuck out of here. Hold on, let me keep reading that. Damn, hold on. A lot of comments that came through there. Kate Egan did like Lakeisha Grant for Tommy, just like Yaz like Lauren for. Bruh, Kate was attacking Lakeisha the same way she was doing. She was doing Holly. I don't know what the heck are you talking about. She did not like her. She even said since she got a child, she wasn't good for him. Because you remember the episode before Lakeisha died. It may have been the same episode. She came and was talking about Lakeisha. She didn't like her. No, I don't know where you getting that from. I feel like he cared about Keisha so much because he seen it as a second chance to have a family and to do right after killing Holly. You see how much it hurt him to tell Tasha about what happened. Exactly. And then think about this. Even in Force, what happened when he was with Maria? A hallucination of Holly came, not Keisha. Also, think about this: when Jason was holding the gun up, and he didn't know whether he was going to cap him or Patar, what was the thing he thought about? Holly. Holly was the true love of his life, people. I don't know what are we talking about. She was not only was she the true love of his life, she was the best pick. And they had the best chemistry together. Everything, if you ask me, points towards. I don't know how Chat GBT is saying it's Lakeisha because she's to me she was the worst pick. Even though I think overall she's a good woman, but with Tommy being a drug dealer and her having to defend her kid, and Tommy not being the actual blood father of that child, she's gonna choose the child every time over him. See, Tasha and Tasha and Ghost was a different situation because Ghost was their blood father. Yeah, it's Holly. You right, Shay. It was Holly for sure. I'll go with Holly over Keisha because Holly understood the streets more and had red hair. I don't know about understanding the streets more. They both didn't really know the streets. Holly had to be taught just like Keisha had to be taught. Holly could have been Tommy's Tasha, but seeing how they played out, he most likely needed an Angela in his life. Well, he ain't got no Angela. I feel like his love for Maria is more legit than his love for Keisha. Holly was a liability to Tommy, like Elle and Riley was to Braden. I don't know if I can say that she was a liability. I just think she made sometimes bonehead mistakes for sure. But let's go ahead and think about it this way. Let's put Holly in Keisha's shoes for some of the events that took place. When Keisha took out Monzi, right? Because Two Bit and Spanky sent him to the shop. If Hollywood had to put down Monzi, do you think Holly would have been panicking the way Keisha was doing? I don't think so. She wouldn't panic and be like, "Look, I want to get away from all this drug shit." I don't know. That's not Holly's type. Holly got shot and nearly died at the club over that shit, and she still didn't change at all. She was still his ride or die. She didn't panic. So no, that's one of the situations. And then think about it. The police wouldn't have had leverage on her to try to take a child away from him because she doesn't have any. And if she did have one, let's say she had that baby that she was pregnant with. Do you really think Holly would have betrayed Tommy like that? I don't think so. History has shown us no. And if you put Keisha in Holly's shoes, if Keisha would have gotten locked up the way Holly did, and they was interrogating her like that, and let's just say they would have said they would have took Cash away, I think Keisha would have ratted on Tommy in season 2 when they got Holly and was questioning her. The same way they threatened her to go to Ohio, they would have threatened Keisha saying, we're going to take away your child. Keisha would have folded. That's what would have happened. So y'all cannot convince me she was better for him than her. Like I said, I can entertain Maria. You can make a case for her. But you ask me, Keisha, no. No way. Tommy was going to marry Lakeisha. Don't mean nothing. I'm pretty sure if he would have had time, he would have married Holly too. Holly just wasn't around long enough. Don't mean anything. Don't want to hear it. Maria comes with too much. And I think the only reason why he wanted to marry Keisha was because of how he lost Holly. Think about that. She was the one who made him like, let me not take this shit for granted, like I did with Holly. Maria comes with too much baggage with her family also being in the drug gang. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I said that's the reason why, that's what separates them, in my opinion. The reason why Holly gets the edge over her. But other than that, she's a better pick than Keisha. None of these women were good for Tommy, and his love life is boring. Hey, that might actually be true, but I'm going to say this. We just choosing from who is the best pick. Maria gonna catch a body next season. She had a gun on somebody in the trailer. If y'all watch, yeah, we saw that. That don't necessarily mean she gonna catch a body, but do I think she might? Yeah, probably. Tommy hid Lakeisha Grant from Milan. Why does that matter? You say IMDb not in the chat? Nah, I don't think he here today. In Power Origins, we're gonna see Tommy make a lot of dumb decisions as a kid when he comes to female. Probably so. hey, IMDb is crazy, right? Hey, that shit funny as hell. That man called his ass IMDb. Man, Holly went behind Tommy back to kill Ghost. She had to go. Hey, I'm not disagreeing with that. I said that was her only flaw. But let's go back to Lakeisha. She tried to do the same shit, basically. She didn't go behind his back with it, but she was trying to convince Tommy to go away from Ghost. I think if she would have been put in that same predicament, she probably would have did the same shit. Neville Ellis and Zach from Sister was in season 2 of OG Power. Yeah, I remember. He was the one who goes on episode 209. Tommy thought was Ghost, and he was like, "Gee, the fuck are you looking at?" He was the one who said that. He had a one-liner. Lakeisha was always going to choose Cass over exactly, and that's the reason why she's not the better pick. Tommy here, Lakeisha Grant. Why are you? What the hell, nigga? Terry Silver should have smashed Keisha instead. Milk Dud head ass would have still been alive. So would have. No, he wouldn't. I just thought about it because at that time, Tommy was already into Keisha, so Tommy probably would have killed him for it. So either way, he was cooked. Holly never called about it. We get that. So what? What they got to do with anything? Bro, it is not Gloria. I don't know why the heck we were talking about Gloria. They don't even have history. It was just like a more of a flink. They just smashed and talked a little bit. It was not a real relationship. If you don't know the other names, then that's the reason why you're saying that shit. If everything goes right, Maria could potentially be number one over Holly. I can agree with that, Marcus. That's why I said we kind of we kind of still gotta let things play out with the Maria situation. But right now, I got her sitting at number two. We don't know if Holly would have smoked everyone. What do you mean by that? Keisha started the relationship out of jealousy for Tasha's life. And that's another thing that made Keisha not a good pick. Keisha made him and Tasha bump heads. The fact that he wasn't able to go to his sister no more because she's jealous of it. That's another reason. He didn't have that situation with Holly. Keisha was not good for him at all. I don't know how the hell any of y'all trying to make a case for this shit. She was the last place. Shit, I'll even put Gloria over Keisha. And I think Gloria shouldn't even be in this month, in the discussion. At least Gloria was childish and looked like she had, at least was a good girl to a certain extent. But yeah, you just can't. When you in the drug life, bro, and you're dealing with law enforcement, it's gonna be challenging dealing with a woman that already has a child because she's gonna pick them over you more than likely. Keisha started the relationship out of jealousy for time. Okay, I've seen that. Fuck Keisha, fuck Markeisha, and fuck Dom. I'm guessing that's all of Lala Anthony's characters. Holly literally told Tommy in front of him that she was talking to the feds about turning in Ghost, and she told Angela Ghost is James. She is a liability. So from that aspect, I get you. But I think that was more so of her just being a bird brain, kind of, which is not a good thing. I'll give that to you. But yeah, I think Keisha was smarter than Holly. But I still think in Tommy's situation, he needed a ride or die more than he needs somebody that's smart. Because Holly could be taught. And she told, and as far as the told Angela that Ghost was that James was Ghost. She thought that they were trying to that Angela already knew, and she was just trying to frame Tommy. That's the reason why she came at him like that, at her like that. Stacey March told Maria to ask Tommy about Lakeisha Grant. I know. And Maria, what did she do? She went and confronted him about it. She didn't get over emotional. She asked him who she was. I wonder if David McLean divorce is final yet. His story is a lot more interesting than Tommy's. I hope Davis was able to finesse Noma out of her coins. Hey, that'll be wild and funny as hell if he did find a way to do that. I'll be definitely cheering for my nigga if he pulled that out. Of course, the justification for Holly. Ain't no damn justification, nigga. I'm a nigga of facts and the truth. That's just what it was. Lakeisha had to go be a busy body in other shows. She's no good. Lakeisha, like I said, that's the child thing and her being scary. Because she was definitely his most scary girl. Don't give a damn what y'all say. That's a bad combination. The fact that she's already scary and she has a child, she's gonna always pick her child over him. That makes her a bad pick. Said Keisha's acting was bad even when Tasha killed her. I remember folks saying that too. Folks were like, "This bitch can't even die, right?" Nah, I'm gonna say this. This ain't got nothing to do with Lala Anthony. I'm judging strictly about what Lakeisha's character. It don't matter who would have played. They could have gotten Angela Bassett to play her. It wouldn't change my opinion. But anyways, bro, I think we're gonna go ahead and head to the next one. We're gonna go ahead and head on over to topic number 3. So the next topic at hand. What if Raina snitched? And when for those of y'all that wasn't here from the beginning of the live when I explained this, basically I was saying, what if Raina, as you know, Tasha said that Raina always told her everything. And then of course, Ghost already knew the reason why she didn't tell her was because Tariq asked her not to. So here's our question. That's why I got this particular photo as the headline for this. This is the time when Tariq was talking to Raina and saying, you can't tell. It only make things worse. But the truth in the matter is, if Raina would have told, in my opinion, I think Raina would have still been alive today. Like it's like Ghost said, if you would have been so stuck on stupid, your sister would have still been alive today. Don't you get that? Come here, come back here, boy. I'm not done with you. So that's my opinion on that. I think absolutely she would have still been alive if she would have told either one of them. It wouldn't matter who she told. She could have told Ghost or she could have told Tasha, because Tasha would have told Ghost, and Ghost and Tommy would have got together and handled Ray Ray. That's what would have happened. But Tariq was just foolish, thinking he can just deal with it on his own. And then on top of that, he didn't even come up with a plan to be able to escalate, to be able to deal with, to escalate some kind of plan that can help him get Ray Ray off his back. He was just going to the school dance and shit like it's nothing. Then on top of that, was stupid enough to meet with Destiny, which is Ray Ray's cousin. That was just stupid. So if Raina would have just went ahead and just told Ghost, in my opinion, Ray Ray would have got smoked, and that would have been the end of that shit. Because Kanan didn't care about Ray Ray, so nobody would have came to avenge him. And then Ghost and Tommy, if they would have did it, they would have escalated the, they would have executed this situation to the point that it would have been no, evidence there for them to even know Ray Ray was killed. They probably would just got rid of the body and he would have been just reported a missing person. And even if they did, by some miracle, find the body, they wouldn't have been able to link it back to prove that it was, Ghost or Tommy, because they wouldn't have been careless like that. Angela Bassett would have made a great rock if she didn't get Patina Miller. I mean, Angela Bassett is a little too old for that character. But yeah, I mean, obviously she's a strong actress. So could she have been good for the role? Sure. Angela Bassett would have made a great rock if she didn't get bit. Yeah. How much y'all want to bet Yas gonna be the one to kill Tariq? I actually wouldn't bet against you with that, Sharu, because I think that's a possibility too. I always thought Yas might come back and possibly do something to him. Lala, BBL, and bad acting had to go, cuz your boy took the night out so he can work on his synopsis collections. Hey, the crazy thing with that, bro, I don't know where he be getting that shit from. Like I think DeMarcus might be right, bro. It's crazy. Like I said, I be trying not to go at the man. I just be letting him do him. But he do be sounding like he be getting all his comments straight from Chat GPT. It'd be crazy as hell. Writer should not have approached a grown person and accused them. Bottom line. Absolutely. 100% facts. But here's the thing. Raina never would have had to do that if she would have just snitched and told Ghost on him. Ghost would have been on took care of Ray Ray already. And I'm pretty sure Ghost would have been smart enough to say, y'all not going to the school dance. If Ray Ray hadn't been handled yet, it would have been like, look, y'all go into hiding or you stay up in the house. I have guards and stuff looking over it, and y'all don't come out until I tell you you can. Tommy and Ghost would have went out, found Ray Ray, and got him. Then that shit would have been happening. Tariq was being reckless around that time. Yeah, the nigga was very reckless. All y'all do is speak on hypotheticals and say they are facts. Well, right now I can guarantee you what I'm saying, nigga. Anybody that watched the show would agree that's a fact, nigga. Raina should have snitched. Just because Angela Bassett is a great actress, don't mean she would have been a great rock. I mean, that is true, and I know Angela Bassett is kind of strict on the type of roles that she's betrayed as. So some of the things that Rock did, I don't know if she would have been okay with doing it, but do I think she could have pulled it off? Yes. But who I think is do I think Patina is probably a better pick? Yep. Because it's just that gutterness and stuff that she had, that that and that it just I don't know. She just got some kind of swagger about her that just was different. That made it seem like she was just perfect for that role. But like I said, Angela pull it off? Yeah. So Roger P. Henson would have been a better rock than Angela Bassett. Uh, I would have to disagree with that. Ain't nobody got no more comments on it. I can move on. I think Lala is great for TV. I don't have anything negative to say about it. If people didn't want to see her, she wouldn't keep landing roles. She's come a long from being a radio personality. Nah, I'm gonna disagree with that. It ain't got nothing to do with people wanting to see her. It's just like these booty ass rappers that's on the radio. People don't want to hear them. It's just you was able to get plugged in with the right people, and they putting you there. It got nothing to do with the people wanting to see her. I promise you that. And I'm able to speak at this as far as regular people that I speak among, like fans. That all of them say for the most part say she's a terrible actress, and looking at the side of people who actually work in the business, like I do, and a lot of my friends, they all say she's a bad actress. So that ain't true. Now, some of course, some of the power people say try to say she's a good actress, but that's because they're just taking up for their colleagues. Of course, what else would they say? I don't know if I'm gonna say she clapping 50, but I think 50 is a 50 is just loyal and to people that's loyal to him. So I mean I don't know. It could be that, but I'm not gonna just say it. She just good for a sex character. I told you if Stephen H. don't copy what I say, he is copying someone else. Dude, not original at all. Plagiarism. How do I sound like a hater? That's why I be saying folks be throwing in hater word too around too loosely. You're not able to criticize somebody without them saying you're a hater. It's crazy. You can have an opinion that's not in favor of whoever the person is y'all talking about without it being hate. Me personally, like I said, I don't have nothing against her personally. I just don't think she's a good actress, and neither does plenty of other people. You're not a hater. This is my thing. If everybody out the ordinary, let's say majority of the people see the same thing, and then just one out of the bunch just keep on nitpicking every little thing out of nowhere for no apparent reason, I would say that was hate. But if it's a bunch of other people, even if more people don't see it, but it's a bunch of other people that see the same thing, it's probably some truth to it. The only thing about the new world that we live in is that the media push agendas. So even if what the truth is let's say the truth is she's a bad actress, if they decide to push an agenda to say that she's not, most of the people are sheep. They're gonna just believe what they tell them and think you hating if you're not agreeing. Like I said, she's a it's crazy. You know what's crazy? And this is the craziest thing about Lala. I don't know how we ended up getting on her because I really wasn't trying to. I didn't even bring up her acting really. But the craziest thing is I've been rewatching Power. Right, I'm currently on season 6, episode 4, and seasons 1 through almost I can say 1 through 5 maybe. You didn't really notice that she's kind of bad because I know I didn't. I didn't notice it then. But it wasn't until season 6, which is when she got a whole lot of screen time, that you notice, okay, she's kind of terrible. Don't make me start pulling up scenes and let y'all look at it and be like, this is what the hell I'm talking about. I can substantiate my argument easily. This ain't got nothing to do with hate. This is the truth. She ain't carrying no long way, nothing. You ask me, when I see her, she's basically the same, and that's the craziest part. The fact that she hasn't gotten improved much throughout all the years she's been acting. That's how I let you know with acting, kind of up to a degree. I'm not saying you can't get better, but it's either you have it or you don't. Lala can't act. Niggas can't name one good acting scene. One good acting scene she's had in all three shows. I can't speak for the other shows, but I can say in Power she don't have any. I can agree. Excuse me. Like with everybody else, I can think of scenes where I'd be like, okay, yeah, he killed that scene, or she killed that scene. I can't think of any like that for her. Well, if you ask me, since you want to talk about people want to fit in with trends, the trend in this situation, it ain't got nothing to do with no trends of folks saying she can't act. That's just the truth. You act, I promise you, you find any acting coach and then tell them to look at Lala Anthony, they're gonna say, yeah, she's not too good. I guarantee you. Now, if they're a big time acting coach, they probably won't say it publicly because she's a household name. But if you just talk to them personally and tell them what do they think of her as an actor, I promise you they're gonna say she's bad. It has nothing. Everything's not hate, bro. Some shit is just true. They might say all her good acting scenes are sex scenes, right? It's only with shit that you really want to look at. You ain't looking at her and be like, oh, that's a good scene. Now Notori, on the other hand, she had a lot of good scenes that you can point out. Holly, the one that played Holly, she had a lot of good scenes that you can think of that was really good. Like whenever Holly and Tommy had arguments or something like that with scenes, they were good. With Keisha, they were mediocre or bad. So Lala Anthony acting was bad in the New Edition series. I didn't watch that, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was. Without looking at it, I'm pretty sure it was bad. Her best scene in OG Power was when she told Angela, I don't know, I'm not the goddamn. What's up, Ghosty? How the hell a death scene show her range, niggas? Get the fuck out of here. That's not even showing range. Liliana was good. Yeah, she did have some good scenes. Liliana was a good actress. I don't have nothing negative to say about her. And see, that's another thing. If I was a hater, I would be saying that about any and everybody. I'm just a person that's gonna tell the damn Jew. She wasn't good. I could tell you another person that was acting that wasn't good in Power. Power actually had a couple of them that were questionable. The little girl, shit, the one that's right here that we're looking at, even though we having a whole different segment that's not even about Raina. She wasn't too good. I'm just being honest. She wasn't a good child actress like that. But I wouldn't go too hard on her because she's a child. But I do know some good kid actors. Like her it's what we call in acting class that act she had that acting um way of acting, which is basically when you can tell that they're acting, but it doesn't look like, an authentic scene. Like she even do the hand gestures that people when they're acting do. That's acting that looks like they're trying to act, but they're doing a scene. I see why that's another one that was bad. Cass was terrible. I see why Cass was her son on Power. Neither one. Facts. Facts. He was terrible. That's true. We hating on Cass too, huh? Who else was it? Let me see. Let me now y'all about to get me stirred up. Stirred up, really really starting to really dive in on all of them. Let me see. Season 1. I can't really think of none in the season 1. I know Mary J get a lot of heat. She gets some criticism. I'll say Mary J. She had some questionable things. I think whenever it comes to time for her, anytime that she's being intimate is not good. I'm gonna say this, say that about her. But when it comes to her kind of being gangster, she's cool at those things. You can tell she doesn't have, she's not too comfortable doing scenes where she kind of got to get sentimental a little bit. Angela's nephew, yeah, he wasn't too strong either. I agree, he wasn't too strong. I don't think I don't think he was just straight terrible, but yeah, he wasn't the strongest of actors. The Marcus be just wanting to go against the grain, bro. That's what it is. I knew he was gonna ask that question next too. It's crazy. I knew he was gonna ask this. Now, if you ask me, the answer is Mary J, nigga. Give a damn what you talking about. Mary J actually won an award before. Lala ain't won a damn thing. Why? Because she can't fucking act. Now, is Mary J the strongest of actors? No, she is not. But I think she is better. She is better than goddamn Lala. I'm gonna say this: they could never make Lala Monet's character. Monet could definitely be Lala's character easily. You said Zeke a better actor than Lala. Now, if you want to get, you appreciate, nigga, trust me, nobody on this damn chat in this building right now appreciate the art of acting more than me. I can guarantee you that. Why are black people so critical of another? Lala just trying to provide for her family. This is a much better topic than Raina though. Why is black people so quick to say something's wrong with somebody critiquing something? If it's not good, it ain't good. If a chef make you a goddamn burger and the shit got blood coming out and it don't and you didn't ask for it, it's not good, you gonna say something about it, right? It's a product, just like everything else. Putting out at your acting thing is a product. People are entitled to their opinion to be able to critique it. If I put out something, somebody say something about mine, guess what? If enough people are saying it, I'm gonna reevaluate myself and be like, damn, maybe I could have get done better like that. But at the same time, haters do exist. We understand that. Some people just say something negative about you for no reason, and it's just out the blue, just because. That's niggas hate. I'm looking at it as an actual actor. And I promise you, every actor, everybody that works in this business, look at the acting. If it's not strong, they're gonna say something about it. So that's the perspective I'm looking at it. I don't know not one actor that I know of that don't look at something and criticize it if it's bad. Not one. That's just like a hooper that you play basketball and then somebody gets into the cracks to play ball with y'all. Y'all know he sucked, but he's there because he got some kind of favoritism is being done, and people are gonna say something about it behind closed doors, but they're not gonna say nothing about it publicly. Why? Because they're not allowed to, due to who they're working for. And proof of this is the fact that Bronny James is in the league right freaking now. Everybody knows he's nowhere near as good as the other players on the damn NBA. But they bite their tongue, even lie, because they know who his father is. His father is one of the all-time greats. They know that's the only reason why he's in the NBA. So you a hater because you don't think he's good at basketball? If you're Kevin Durant and you say, yeah, Bronny's not good, is Kevin Durant a hater? No, he is not. He's telling the damn truth. Y'all need to stop. Like when Jaylen Brown was watching him during the summer league, and they caught him on a hot mic, kind of, where they read his lips, and he was saying he don't think Bronny James is a pro. They criticized him and made him apologize, but he was telling the truth when he said that. Anybody who watches basketball know that dude is not a pro. Just like Lala Anthony is not a good actress. Everybody in the acting world thinks she's not a good actress. That's the truth. And it's fine. And whenever I see her get into a new thing, I don't never say anything about it. Like when I heard she was in the Shy, I was like, oh, okay, she's in the Shy too. That was the end of it. Didn't matter. Don't. Hey, I'm not gonna. Who am I to criticize her landing roles? I ain't gonna say shit about that. I'm like, hey, go ahead and get your money. Whatever you're doing, whether it's you able to know how to make connects well, that might be her skill. Whatever it is she's doing, even if she's smashing somebody behind closed doors, that ain't none of my business. She's getting her roles. I agree with that. But you're not about to tell me that I'm hating because I'm saying she can't act, because she can't. Just like when Beyonce, let's keep it going. Y'all done started up something now. Beyonce can't act. Am I hating on Beyonce too? She can't. I'm gonna give you another one that really can't act, but they hype him up and stuff like that because of who he is and their favoritism. The Rock is not nearly that strong of an actor as they try to make it out to be. I'm not hating. I'm telling the truth. I don't think he's terrible, but he's not very a strong actor like that. Batista is a better actor than him. Shit. These are facts. I'm not fucking lying. Damn sure ain't hating. I'm just telling the truth about it. Practice does make perfect in acting if you're practicing the right way. But this is the thing. Lala has been acting for over 10 years in professional environments. I think acting classes preps you up. And I'm pretty sure most actors, if you ever run into actors who legit do acting, they will agree with me with this. Acting classes are cool. They good. They keep your chops up. You know what I'm saying? so that you won't get too rusty and things like that. But the best way to get better at acting is actually performing, like actually filming. And then, later on, getting used to it, filling it out and stuff like that, building chemistry. That's your best practice, actually being a part of the set and doing it. That's why if you pay attention on brand new shows, the pilot episode typically is always the worst episode. Not the worst as far as the writing and stuff like that, but as far as like the characters' chemistry, the acting and stuff like that. Because they gotta kind of build that, get used to each other. And then it gets better as it goes. That like the episode one might be like, oh, it's cool, it's good. But then episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, damn, okay, them folks snapping now. Because it takes, like I said, it's not like most actors on a professional set. It's not like you're somewhere sitting practicing all damn day. Like you might have a rehearsal, but you're not just sitting there practicing all damn day with each other to make sure you got it. That's the reason why they hold the auditions. They get the person that they feel like can execute what they need done the most efficiently and at the least amount of time, because time is of the essence when it comes to it. Because if you don't get a certain scene done by a certain amount of time, it's going to cost you more money. So that's the reason why they want the best actors that can execute it. Rock was good in Iron Gang. He was cool there. The Rock is only good in movies when he can be. That's pretty much the truth. Any roles that he can kind of be like a Herculean muscle guy, he's good at those roles. But if you want him to be, if you wanted The Rock to play a role like, let's say, if he had to play Alonzo Harris in Training Day, he would be terrible. He wouldn't be good at all at it. That's all his best movies are when he just a swole nigga. Yeah. Lala Anthony is in the movie Trouble Man and not smashing anyone. I mean, I haven't seen it. Honestly, I mean, Lala got 183 credits. All that didn't come from sleeping with 50 Cent. Hey, I actually, keep in mind, I actually said I don't believe she did. She's doing that. That's my opinion. I don't think she is. I just think Lala is connected. That's what it is. She's connected to be able to land roles, and she knows the art of acting good enough that she can actually get in there and do the roles. I don't think she's the worst actress I've ever seen. No. The worst I ever seen is probably the Young Miami. That's in a professional acting set. But what I'm saying is, and then this is the thing. When you are a person that has a name for yourself, you said 183 credits. Like you said, she's a television host. She did television before that. Like she was a host. Simply out of her having, clout from that, certain people would want her on their show. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of those 183 credits that you're speaking of are a lot of short films and smaller sets, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has it. But what I am saying is that I believe it's more so her being connected. Keep in mind, she also is the ex-wife of Carmelo Anthony. That's going to give her some clout as well. So I don't think that she's smashing 50 for the roles. I think she earned it through being connected and putting herself in the right environment to get it. That's what she did. Rock started falling off when he had him playing goofy roles. See, I never seen Black Adam, but you said he was cheese. Lala Anthony been married to an NBA legend definitely helped open up some doors. Thank you. That's all I'm just saying. Like, bro, I'm not hating at all. Like you got to be real. When you connect it, you get things that normal people won't get. When you connect it like that, she can be up against somebody that got, you know what I'm saying, Taraji P. Henson level of acting. But let's say she don't have the name. She's not Taraji P. Henson, but let's say she's just as good as an actress as her. And she's up against Lala Anthony. There's a good chance Lala is gonna get that role over her because of her name. That shit is a thing. But how the hell did Lala pop up on my dad? Then we don't spoke her up in these damn phones. And you know Kim K got pulled for sure. But anyway, we had. I guess I should open up another segment and put it out there about Lala acting, because that's basically what this segment was about. A long gas segment at that. We're gonna go ahead and move to this last one though. Last one of the night. Would Ghost plan have worked? And when I say would Ghost plan have worked, I am speaking of his plan to frame Ray Ray for the death. I mean, to frame Dre for the death of Ray Ray. Because as you can remember, his plan initially was to get Dre. They made a connection through, Angela. They saw Ray and Dre speaking while they was, at they had some little meeting or whatever. Ray was like, "You ain't paid me and Juke our money for babysitting that little punk bitch Tariq," right? So they was able to capture that, and it looked like some kind of business deal going on. And then, of course, they was gonna kill Dre, plant the head of Diego Jimenez um, head up in there, and made it look like it was, the Jimenez cartel retaliate. Do y'all believe that that would have turned out to be the better plan instead of Tasha and Angela's plan to frame Kanan for it? And we've seen the outcome of that. This nigga still on it, and then saying we still playing. I ain't never said I'm still playing. I'm speaking the truth. I never pull back my punches. I don't think she's a good actress. Like I said, and see, I do. I think her best times was in seasons 1 through 5, and maybe those were because her scenes were much shorter then. But anyways, topic at hand. Would Ghost plan have worked? Ah, damn, ain't nobody got shit to say about it. So you think it would have worked? I think me personally, I actually think that it would. It would have. I know they had Angela say that it wouldn't have worked, but I don't see how in the hell it wouldn't have because it would have looked just like you know Dre did the shit because he had they seen him footage of him being with them, and it would have looked like the Jimenez cartel got to him. Yes, Lala having a huge following has a huge play up in her getting landing roles as well. Tyler Perry used this tactic. He brings on people that really doesn't have too big of a name, but they have a huge following. So even if they're not, the strongest at acting, they can still bring in a lot of revenue just because their fans will come and watch it. That is absolutely a thing. Seeing her play a protagonist role, I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me shut up because I would be a hater. You know what's crazy? The panel that I had up here Sunday, majority of them are actors and actresses. If I brought her up in that circle, I promise you, everybody would cook her. Everybody would be like, "Yeah, she ain't good." They may not go in too hard on her, but if you ask just simply their opinion, they would all agree with me. Guarantee you. I can bring up a lot of friends and stuff like that that's in the acting, and we can pull up credentials and stuff like that to prove that that's the business that they work in, and they'll say she ain't too good. The writers and OG Power will never allow Ghost or Tariq to be successful. So all their plans will continue to fail. Well, we're trying to give them a hypothetical where they do get a chance to win. So judging by what it seemed like their plan was, do it seem like it could have been a successful plan? And here's another one in there we could just throw out there because I was just thinking on it. What if Kanan wouldn't have been too, you know, loving and forgiving with Tariq, and he would have just shot his ass through that damn car. He would have said, "Hey, Like, fuck that. This nigga just betrayed me and got me wet up by the police. We go ahead and kill this little nigga. We talked about that already though in the last line, but because I was saying that what do you think Ghost would have killed Angela and Tasha after this shit? What if Tariq? Hold on, Lala been in acting roles since the early 2000s. I remember her in that movie You Got Served. Been so long since I seen You Got Served. Don't really remember it. Don't damn sure don't remember her being in it. What if Tariq would have done his bid and Theo taught him how to squabble and introduced Tariq to Davis? I remember you saying that. Not only believes that Ghost plan would have worked. So what would have been the outcome of it if if his plan would have worked? How do we see it? Let's see. Um, this ultimately get the blame of Ray put on Dre. So Tariq would be in the clear. But let me go ahead and make it a little bit more interesting. Tariq would have gotten out of that Ray situation, but that means Kanan is now still alive. So keep in mind, Kanan's whole plan was to manipulate the situation that's going on between Ghost and Tommy and try to get them to take each other out. So more than like it's a possibility that it could have ended with one of them being taken out by each other. Because keep in mind, he was already trying to plant a bug in Tommy's ear that Ghost struck a deal with Dre. And then remember, he was trying to ask him what was Dre's side of the deal. Who's supposed to get dead? Me, you. So I believe he was going to try to encourage Tommy that Ghost struck a deal to have him taken out. Because he knew what the real deal was. He could have just told him that the plan, he was trying to get Jason taken out, but he didn't do that. They were going to plant the murder weapon on him and have him killed in jail, and everyone is in the clear. Now, Kanan's plan would have been to take over Tommy's spot, right? And like you remember, Jason was saying that, "Are you going to take Tommy out?" And he was like, "Ghost and Tommy gonna take each other out." And like I said on the other live, I believe Kanan was betting on Ghost succeeding and taking out Tommy. And that way he is already in the clear because now he don't have to, he can easily, just step up, take the spot. And then Ghost, he don't care about the game. So he wasn't gonna bother him. He was just gonna live his own life, possibly go ahead and stay with Angela and Maybe Ghost could have had his happily ever after. Maybe. But keep in mind, this is power. Something else would have came up. Anyways, though, we are as close to that 2.5 hour mark, and it's getting dry, so I'm probably about to go ahead and end it. So we can go ahead and do our last conclusion, closing comments and statements. Tariq left his DNA at the same, but eventually, even though Tommy and Gold wore gloves a lot, they still left DNA at damn near every crime scene too. A pubic hair can fall out of your pants in a drill. On a drill, you're cooked. If Dre would have gotten arrested, them setting up the Rashad Tate with the Alphonse death wouldn't have gone down. Hmm. How does that prevent the Alphonse situation? I'm trying to figure out how that would have worked out. I like OG Power, but it's always been unrealistic. New York has cameras 24/7. All of these characters would have made it to the would have made it to have any spinout. So I guess you meant wouldn't have. I do say wouldn't have. I am my ass bad. Wouldn't have made it to have any spinouts. I agree with that. Remember that Dre got too big and Spanky to help stick up people to get the random. Yeah, I remember that, but how? I don't get how the Dre situation would have prevented the Alphonse situation. I mean, I get it that Dre was a part of the people that was helping with the situation, but they probably would have just found someone else. But speaking of the unrealistic shit of power, here's another one that I was always every time I look at this scene, I'd be like, that shit was very unrealistic. You remember when Tariq was going to um to take out Ray Ray, and he made it through the door because some girl came out of the door, and Ghost so happened to be pulling up, and he didn't make it to the door in time before it closed. So he ended up picking up something to bust the glass to get up in there. That is the fakest shit ever. If he would have bust that glass to get up in there, that camera, first off, the cameras itself, when they found out that an NYPD, um, you know, officer was murdered, that's one of the first things they would have done. Ran the cameras. And Ghost and Tommy and them, they didn't have time to wipe the cameras. So you can't tell me that's what happened. As much as they was in a rush to hurry up and get up there to protect Tariq, they didn't have time to do any of that because the police showed up almost immediately after that. After they all three of them made it up there. So they would have seen Tariq going up into the building. So that would have been, that would have been enough for them to issue a warrant. Then they also would have seen, you know what I'm saying, Ghost once he bust the window to go up in there. How the hell they didn't get no footage of none of that shit? but we get it. It's television. Hold up, Dre and 2-Bit already wasn't cool before the stick up. Hold on, remember that Dre got 2-Bit and Spanky to help stick up people to get the random. Yeah, that's true. He didn't do that. Ghost and Tommy was the one that got Dre and 2-Bit. I mean, they got Tommy really was the one who got 2-Bit and Spanky involved. Had nothing to do with Dre. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was an iron board. Either way, that shit, the cameras would have caught that shit. Ain't no way to hell. Facts, it's pretty unrealistic for sure. But see, and that's another for me, that's another major edge that Snowfall has over Power. Not saying that Snowfall don't have any unrealistic scenes, but for the most part, most of they shit be you don't heavily question, but like, okay, yeah, that was fake. That would happen. They write this. I think they writers did a pretty good goddamn job. Tariq never getting shot. Yeah, because 2-Bit when 2-Bit seen Dre at True, he was ready to cut his because he seen him from a distance and was like Dre, and then Dre, hurry up and walked off. The world's greatest hacker wiped all the cameras clean by twinkling her nose. Right, the world greatest hacker that they didn't even know yet because Effie didn't even show up till season 6, and that was season 4. Kane disappearing. That is. Hey, y'all, I got to do a video on the top 5 most unrealistic, fakest shit in Power history. The shit, I'm going to go ahead and give y'all a spoiler alert. Kane disappearing and using the instant transmission is gotta be number 1 because that is crazy. Still to this day, they have no answers. And they probably never going to give us an answer to what the fuck happened. How the hell did he just disappear? And the police didn't see him no more. And he ended up in a goddamn, man, stop it. Tasha never been shot or beat up. That is true. But I'm going to say this. I don't think Tasha involved herself with too much to really end up getting herself shot. But I do think it would be, I think it would be justified if they were to have a plan to have Cash's character come back, or perhaps even Cash's, father Kadeem was to be the ones to come back and get Tasha for that. But here's the thing. If let's say Cash or Kadeem was to come back and do that, how would they have found out it was Tasha that was responsible? The only way they can find out maybe is through Tommy, because Tariq damn sure ain't gonna tell them. Or let's just say Ghost is still alive and he pull a Franklin Saint, like Franklin did, and and snitched to Kane on Louis and Ghost tell him. But I don't see him doing that. So how would they find out? Tasha treated Tariq like a son slash husband, trying to replace Ghost as the head of the family. Well, to be honest with you, that's kind of typical, unfortunately, in our community. A lot of them do that. They shield and protect their son as if it's their husband, or they, just somebody that needs protection 24/7, and then put their daughters on the front line, which is crazy. Anyways, I'm about to go ahead and close this thing out, people. Yeah, it do seem like folks going like most of the people is sleep or falling asleep. But I'm about to go ahead and close this out anyway because I got might have to do something with my uncle up in the morning. So I'm not sure about a morning show or not, but gonna have to just stay tuned on that. But I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. Appreciate everybody that stopped through, like usual, and I'm gonna have to catch y'all on the next one tomorrow night. But I'll read this last comment. You said Cash could check the cameras and see that Tasha smoked Lakeisha Grant. Check what cameras? The house was Tommy's house. If anybody had access to them cameras, it was Tommy. How the hell Cash gonna go back and, as a child, go back and then keep in mind many years has passed since then. I'm pretty sure Tommy got rid of those damn tapes. If he had it, he got rid of it. He said I was falling asleep during the Lakeisha segment. One of the worst storylines in Power history was Tasha supposedly having those strippers sell $500,000 to $1 million worth of cocaine in a strip club, gram for gram, in one night. I didn't even catch that shit happen, bro. I'm actually on the right. I'm on the season for that though, so I'm gonna go back and watch that shit and see if I can catch it. Cause I didn't even catch that. That's crazy as hell. Coke that was stepped on like a motherfucker at that. Now the coke was stepped on. Oh boy, folks, now folks getting on Tasha ass. But yeah, like I said, y'all, I'm about to go ahead and close this thing out. See y'all back probably close to the same around the same time, 11 o'clock, 11:30, whichever one. But yeah, see y'all back tomorrow night.